Welcome to Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta, or UMS, is one of the private universities in Indonesia under Muhammadiyah organization, one of the biggest progressive moderate Islamic NGO that has been actively contributing to the development of Indonesia 30 years before its independence. UMS was founded in Surakarta, Central Java in 1958 with a vision to be the center of education and development of Islamic, science, technology and arts, and to provide a direction for change in 2029. Currently, UMS has 4 campuses with 60 study programs consisting of 35 bachelor degrees, 14 master degrees, 8 profession degrees, and 3 doctoral degrees, with a total of more than 30,000 active students from 34 provinces in Indonesia and abroad. As a private university, UMS has achieved recognitions. The institution has been accredited A by PAN-PD in 2017. More than 60% of study programs are accredited A by PAN-PD or LAM-PD, included in the top 10 best Indonesian universities based on World QS in 2020. UMS has various facilities to support quality learning, research, and community service. Main building Siti Walidah. This round building consists of 7 floors designed by lecturers from architecture study programs. This building functions as a rectorate building as well as a center office of academic services for lecturers and students. Dental hospital with modern equipment for learning and practicing dentistry as well as services for staff and students in needs. Auditorium is a multifunctional building for conventions, art space, and indoor sports which occupies an area of around 40,000 square meters, where students can develop their potential to achievements. Auditorium is the largest and most comprehensive campus-owned multifunction building in Indonesia. UMS has a variety and sufficient sports facilities. Library in a 4 floors building. It has collection of 152 and 500 books and 6,083 ebooks. Student study and discussion rooms with high-speed internet facilities. The library also holds workshops for students such Turnitin application for checking similarity and Mendeley as a reference manager. Laboratories located at and managed by each faculty to support learning activities. ID facility. It has local and cloud-based server and storage technology, ID help desk, fiber optic networks, and a number of computer pools spread across all faculties. To achieve the vision, UMS implement a credible, transparent, accountable, responsible, and fair university governance using information system developed by ID unit and has been patented. UMS has supporting units for enhancing academic excellence, Unit of Research and Community Service, Scientific Publication and Textbook Development, the Quality Assurance, the Learning Innovation, Human Resources Development, the Student Affairs, Cooperation and International Affairs, Al-Islam and Kemuhammadiyahan Development, Basic Science and Language Center. UMS is very concerned with the development of student soft skills. There are numerous opportunities for students to get involved in extracurricular activities. UMS provides facilities and infrastructure. Secretariat of Student Organization. Common rooms for developing critical thinking and creativity. Public space for discussion, events, student expo, and other outdoors activity. Sport facilities and infrastructure for students' hobbies and interests. Art and cultural studios for students' hobbies and interests. Facilities for internalizing Islamic values. Other supporting facilities, including the use of campus cars and buses, discounted or free motorcycle routine service. UMS also provides quality student services, including student health service, book voucher twice per year in UMS bookstore service, free hotspot facility all over campuses, student mental health and well-being supports provide student psychology counseling on-site or online. Various scholarship programs. Alumni Career and Employment Center, or ACEC, to help fresh graduates meet the potential employer. Student Internship Program. Student Mobility Programs both inbound and outbound. All facilities and services for students lead to increasing student achievements. In terms of student management, UMS ranked 21st place out of 1,600 public and private universities published by Ministry of Education and Culture. Achievements in student creativity programs. International achievement. International achievements. UMS views human resources as an invaluable asset for university. Human Resources Development Unit continuously carries out transparent and merit-based recruitment and development of the competence and quality of lecturers and supporting staffs. To increase student experience, student mobility, and employability, UMS through international office builds cooperation with various institutions, both national and international. adequate facilities and infrastructure, and effective governance, UMS is expected to continue moving forward in providing education, humanizing, liberating, and transcending to create a whole human being who gives grace to all nature.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us, and I hope you will stay with us until the end of this event. And welcome to International Conference on Economics and Business Studies, or ICOEBS. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you today, and I hope that you have been and will always be very well. Before we begin today's event, I would like to read the rundown for you first. Our first agenda is the Holy Quran recitation, which will be delivered by one of our students from the Department of Management, Mr. Hambali Arshad. Afterwards, it will be singing Indonesia's national anthem, followed by the Muhammadiyah hymn. And following that, I will allow our moderator, Dr. Ihwan Susila, to lead you through the keynote speeches, which will be given by Professor Moha Asri Abdullah from International Islamic University, Malaysia, and Mr. Wijayanto from Indonesian Embassy in Washington, D.C., USA. After the keynote speeches have been delivered, we will have a Q&A session or discussion session, which will be led by, again, Dr. Ihwan Susila. And finally, we will have our lunch break before we begin the panel session. That will be our rundown for today's event. Now, I would like to welcome Mr. Hambali Arshad for the Holy Quran recitation. And for Mr. Hambali Arshad, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alif Lam Tilka ayatul kitabil hakim hudan wa rahmatan lil muhsinin wa yu'tuna az-zakata wa hum bil akhirati hum yuqinun. Ulaika ala hudan min rabbihim wa ulaika humul muflihun. Wa minan nasi man yashtari lahwal hadithi liyudilla an sabilillahi bighairi ilm وَيَتَّخِذَهَا هُزُوًا أُولَئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ وإذا تتلى عليه آياتنا ولى مستكبرا كأن لم يسمعها كأن في أذنيه وقرا فبشره بعذاب أليم إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم جنات النعيم خالدين فيها وعد الله حقا وهو العزيز الحكيم خلق السماوات بغير عمد ترونها وألقى في الأرض رواسي أن تميد بكم وبث فيها من كل دابة وأنزلنا من السماء ماء فأنبتنا فيها من كل زوج كريم هذا خلق الله فأروني ماذا خلق الذين من دونه بل الظالمون في ضلال مبين صدق الله العظيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hambali Arshad, for the beautiful recitation of the Holy Quran. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite all of you to sing our national anthem and Muhammadiyah hymn. Everyone please sit uptight while the song is being played. apologize for the technical difficulty in the first few minutes. Now, I would like to invite you to the opening remarks. The first opening remark will be delivered by our conference chair, Mr. Huda Maulana. For Mr. Huda Maulana, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Anas, for allowing me this opportunity. Welcome all of you, all of ICOEBS participants, moderators, reviewers perhaps, and keynote speakers. We are extremely grateful that you have joined us. Praise and thanks due to Allah for allowing us to hold and enjoy this conference. It is a beautiful and sunny morning here in Indonesia. I hope the weather is also great wherever you are joining us this morning from. So, little thing about this conference. So, this conference is the 4th annual conference held by the Faculty of Economics and Business or Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis, Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. So, ICOEBS is a part of the International Summit on Science, Technology, and Humanity, or so-called ICET. So the ICET itself has welcomed more than 600 participants and involved committee members as well as speakers from 9 different countries. So that is itself big. But this year's ICOEBS itself has received about 120 submissions, out of which only 69 papers were invited for presentation. So this shows you how the competitiveness of this year's conference. But this awesome feat cannot be achieved alone. I cannot achieve those alone. I'd like to thank the committee member, my team member, for putting together such a wonderful event, as well as the advisory board for guiding us all the way through. Also, we'd like to thank the anonymous reviewers who might be here, as well, some of whom might be joining us from, all over the world this morning. So also special mentions should be addressed to this year's keynote speakers, Professor Moha Asri Abdullah, Ph.D., and Mr. Wijayanto, who have been both extremely helpful and supportive. I'm sure that all of you will benefit from Professor Moha Asri Abdullah's experience in the halal industry and also Mr. Wijayanto's insights in global trends surrounding halal and creative industries. And finally, the presenters. We are thoroughly grateful to welcome you. Finally, after a long submission and review processes, you made it here. And I hope you all have supportive, exciting, and enjoyable discussions in the final sessions later this afternoon. And finally, I am fully aware that this conference is far from perfect. We truly apologize for anything that you see might not be the best. Your feedbacks and inputs are much appreciated for future ICOEBS series. Finally, again, it has been a pleasure to welcome you in these wonderful occasions. I hope you all enjoy today's events. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah. Let me try to find clapping hands reaction. Yeah, let's everyone react with clapping hands, just like what I'm doing here. Thank you very much, Mr. Huda Maulana. Now, the second opening remark will be given by the Dean of Faculty of Economics and Business, Professor Anton Agus Setiawan. For Professor Anton, the time is yours.
Is it my voice clear?
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu rasuluh. Allahumma shalli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Let us be grateful by saying Alhamdulillah that today Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with barakah and health so we can attend this conference. And let us not to forget to convey salawat to our great Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has given us guidance to be the best ummah. I am very proud to present International Conference on Economic and Business today, which is, as mentioned by Mas Huda, this is the second conference that we have been held, and it's hosted by Fakultas Ekonomi and Business Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. And in this conference, we will present you to amazing keynote speakers. They are Professor Moha Asri Abdullah, Ph.D. from International Islamic University of Malaysia. He will discuss about the mindset of halal entrepreneurship in sustainable management, and I believe the issue on halal entrepreneurship is related with the halal product and also related with Sharia business, which is also emerged in the research in business and management. And second is Mr. Wijayanto from the Embassy of Republic Indonesia in Washington, D.C., USA. He will give an interesting speech of strategies and opportunities for entering U.S. market. I believe this issue is also important for you all, the researchers and students who attend this meeting. If you have planned to going to business in global, so you will understand how global market works, especially in the United States. There are two important goals of this conference. First, that this conference is an event for researchers and scholars in economic and business to communicate their findings of the research. As mentioned before, that there are 120 papers submitted in this conference, and only 69 papers invited to be presented in the event. And most of the papers discusses contemporary issues in economic and business, and some of them related with the changing landscape of economic and business as the result of COVID-19 pandemic. I believe that this pandemic has given a big change into the economic and business practice, and also in the study of the economic and business. And as researchers, we are invited, and we have to give big attention to this issue, how business organization, also how the government react, and their policy about the pandemic. I think it's very interesting to be studied. And the second, this conference also become the event for our students to present their paper. This is the first time in Fakultas Ekonomi dan Business UMS that we give opportunity to undergraduate students to present their papers as output of the undergraduate thesis. This is Fakultas Ekonomi dan Business. On this year, we start to adopt output-based education with the approach that all the process in academic has to have an output which is measurable output. And one of them, for example, for undergraduate thesis, the output is papers or publication, which is the collaboration between the student and lecturer. It will give the student experience in research collaboration. In the future, this conference, we hope, will be an annual academic events that held by Fakultas Ekonomi dan Business UMS. And we hope that ICOEBS will be an important conference for scholars in economic and business to share their knowledge and publication. As you see that as researchers, we have to always communicate about our findings in our research. And also we have to make a publication which is shows the progress of of the economic and business science itself. Last time is that I extend my deepest gratitude and appreciation to the committee, reviewers, track directors, moderators, keynote speakers, and especially presenters for their hard work and participation so that this conference is held successfully. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Anton Agustiawan, for the opening remark. Now, dear all participants, we will now begin the first two keynote speech sessions shortly, and I would like you to please stay with us for the first two sessions, which will be led by our moderator who has joined us. Our moderator today is Dr. Ihwan Susila. He is currently one of our vice rectors. He earned his Ph.D. from the University of Hull, UK in 2015, after finishing his master's in 2004 and bachelor in 1995, both in Indonesia. He has also held various important positions at UMS, especially at the Faculty of Economics and Business, most notably as a Vice Dean for Student Affairs from 2004 to 2008, and Vice Dean for Administration and Finance from 2017 to 2021. His field of expertise is political marketing, and he has published his research in various Scopus Index journals. He will lead the first two keynote speeches, and I would like to invite him to begin the sessions. For Dr. Ihwan Susila, the time and screen are yours.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Anas, for giving the opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
The Honorable Speaker, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to International Conference on Economic and Business Studies, ICOEBS 2021. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ihwan Susila, the moderator of the conference session. I'm delighted to be a moderator in this conference with the very interesting and relevant topics about prospects and challenges faced by the creative industry and halal sector in the new normal era. The session will hold simultaneously by two distinguished speakers. The first speaker is Professor Moha Abdullah from International Islamic University, Malaysia, that will deliver topic of mindset of halalpreneurship in sustainable management. Continue with the second topic about strategies and opportunities for entering the US market, that will be delivered by Mr. Wijayanto from the Indonesian Embassy in Washington, D.C., USA. We will have a Q&A session after the presentation has been delivered. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, you may prepare your question first. Our discussion will be on the developing creative industry, not only okay. I'm sorry for this disturbing. Right, so the session will hold simultaneously by two distinguished speakers. The first speaker is Professor Moha Abdullah from International Islamic University, Malaysia, that will deliver topic of mindset of halalpreneurship in sustainable management. Continue with the second topic about strategies and opportunity for entering the US market, that will be delivered by Mr. Wijayanto from the Indonesian Embassy in Washington, D.C., USA. We will have a Q&A session after all presentations have been delivered. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, you may prepare your question first. Our discussion will be on the developing creative industry, not only for the safeguarding the entrepreneurship and economic, especially post-pandemic COVID-19, but also nurturing the younger generation of the entrepreneur. So that's why the entrepreneurship, also the halalpreneurship mindset become a crucial issue in harnessing sustainable management. And also how the halal product can be accepted in global market, not only for the Muslim people, but also for everyone as a good food instead of religious food. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as a rule of the proceeding, I would like to invite your Excellencies to deliver your speech. To begin the session, I would like to invite Professor Moha Asri Abdullah to deliver your speech. But before delivering the presentation, I will read his profile and briefly. Dr. Moha Asri Abdullah is a professor at the Faculty of Economic and Management Science, International Islamic University, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. He is the director of the Innovation and Commercialization Office at the university and a former visiting research scholar, Economic Research Center, School of Economic, Nagoya University, visiting research scholar, Auckland University of Technology, University of Massey and Unitar, New Zealand. His specialization is in small enterprises, entrepreneurship, venture capital, and economic development. He has set of board of director in different companies. He is also on the editorial board member of numerous international journals. So, ladies and gentlemen, and your excellencies, Professor Moha Asri Abdullah, the screen is yours.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning for Indonesia and Malaysia, of course. For information, I'm away from Malaysia. I'm not in Malaysia now currently, but it's okay. Alhamdulillah, that I'll be able to join these platforms. First and foremost, dear Chairman, Dr. Ihwan, thank you for your very good introductions. And Honorable Chairman for this conference, Dr. Huda Maulana, Professor Anton, the Deans of Economic and Business Studies, UMS, Secretariat Committee of the ICOEBS, my keynote speakers, as well as the presenters and participants. Let me welcome you all into this platforms and conference. First and foremost, of course, I am humbly honored for being a keynote speakers in this conference, in this auspicious conference, of course, and organized by UMS Surabaya. Let me congratulate Surakarta. Let me congratulate the chairmen and the whole committee, the faculty, as well as UMS as a whole, for successfully organizing this very important and auspicious conference. I am happy to join this conference. Demonstrates the types and the culture that the conference tries to inculcate. So I wish also all the best for those speakers later in presenting the paper, and hopefully all of us will have a very productive and conducive environments for the conference as a whole. All right, so let me go to my presentation slides, if you don't mind, Dr. Ihwan.
Yes, we will prepare for your slide presentation.
All right, this is today I will be talking about a mindset of entrepreneurship in sustainable management. Actually, this may not be covering the whole aspects of entrepreneurships that I've been talking over and over in different platforms around the world, if you like. Nonetheless, for this 20 to 30 minutes, perhaps I grabbed some important information, including slides of my students who which is irrelevant to this particular sessions. So what I'm going to go through is to have this more or less contents of my presentations. These are some of the things that I will be emphasizing throughout my speech. First, I will go through the issues at glance, especially on the COVID-19 and its impacts, and how does it come to about the needs for sustainable halal management. How does it relate to one another? How can we justify this sustainable halal management in relation to the existing COVID-19 today? And afterward, I will go to the slightly on sharing briefly on halal global industry, including the positions, the developments, and the situation before pre-COVID-19 and situation after the COVID-19. What are the challenges that the industry and entrepreneurship should shoulder on to ponders on the weight of the industry in the global economy as a whole. And then I will move on to the way forward to address these issues as whole. This is the issue as whole. I mean, we have a very significant situations of the COVID-19 today and how it impacts on the economies, all right? And we see that this is statistic from my contribution from my master students who collected this, whose notes that the pandemic erased about 255 million jobs in the year 2020, all right, and affect across continents in the world, be it in Latin America, be it in Africa, be it in Caribbean and Southern and Eastern Europe, if you like. The similar things, the effects on the loss to the incomes of the people who earlier involved in the jobs and secure jobs, so decent jobs for the decent living, but lost out because of the COVID-19. And this is expected measures approximately about 220 billion in income. So in addition to that, the most affected nations, of course, always been vulnerable situations. Who else, if not in the poor and low developing nations? All right, these are the most affected nations in the world as a result of COVID-19. The reason is simple: they cannot fend off with the this great setbacks in the economic developments and growth. All right, there is no productivity or low productivity as a result of the COVID-19. I don't want to ponder on this, but as far as the nation that's addressed the issues, all right, we have the dilemma. This is also a slide contributed to my students. I like it very much, that's why I integrated here. The dilemma, all right, today is about whether it's between economy or the health. And many nations balance jugglings on this, whether to address, to open up the economy and then widespread the COVID-19 cases, or vice versa. This is kind of a balancing act whereby many governments has been confronting with. And of course, if we take the case of China, strictly choose health and zero COVID policy, or we call it ZCP, as underlying principles to address the issues. That means they would like to get rid of this first. From then on, economic development takes place, and prospect for the growth will be greater and higher in the near future. So in this case, that many countries adopt and adapt in different ways. Some of them live much more lenient about health, open up the economy, at the same time try to tackle a COVID at the same simultaneously. So the effects, of course, tends to be more advantageous so far, all right, for the case of China, because they are the one who brought out the case, and they were the one who addressed the case quite commendably. So that's why they are very successful and start off the economy after the COVID in a very commending manner. All right, if we look at from Islamic perspective, all right, of course, according to Sharia, of course, we have to go to health first. Protecting this one of the maqasid, 5 pillars of the maqasid, protecting the life of the people of the ummah is very important. All right, now let me go to the sustainable developments, how this can be integrated between the two. All right, today, in the light of COVID-19, it kind of a reminding call or calling for the scholars to move on, all right, the developments of economy through sustainable management, whereby it can contribute to the business sustainability, all right. Why? Because it has a potential and positive impacts on the financial, on the social and environmental performance, at the same time do not deplete resources that are available in their respective nations. So this is the endowments, resources given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it should be used in a manner that be sustainable in the management of it. So in line with this, I am arguing that halal all right, towards sustainable development has been very important, and will be very, very important, especially we are coming from the Muslim nations, all right? And this is especially important, essential for the country to take on. Why I am wondering toward what halal entrepreneurship. Let's look at, if we relate this first to the sustainable development goal, all right, 17 goals prescribed by United Nations, all right. Each and individual goal here shows its relevancy toward sustainable management, and how then halal entrepreneurship can do and embark and shoulder on this. Why I'm emphasizing on halal entrepreneurship? Because we are coming from a Muslim country. We should use our resources in efficient manner, productive manner, all right, sustainable manner. We cannot deplete, because we cannot just waste. We cannot corrupt. We cannot not that kind of in efficient manner as what is happening in many developing countries, including Malaysia today, sad to say about it. All right, now, when we say halal entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship is sustainable innovations of entrepreneurial activities, which covers not just an entrepreneurial activities from micro, but also involve small, medium, and enterprises. And they are the backbones of the economy. Therefore, these entrepreneurs are the backbones of the economic activities. Without them, the innovations, creativity will not be come to realize, will not be prevail in the economy. All right, so it refers to business developments in the global halal industry, which offer products and services that follow and comply fully with the Maqasid Sharia. At the moment, of course, we should recognize the Muslim should take the front lines or forefront in this shouldering the economic activities from the halal industry, but we should also recognize the importance of non-Muslims producing halal goods and services together because of the public interest, or we call it maslahah, in the Islamic economics. So long as they comply with the Sharia levels in terms of financing, say, resources, productions, distributions, logistics to the marketing and ending consumers. If they follow these components of the whole sequence of process, all right, then they should be recognized in the same manner as the Muslims entrepreneurs themselves. Why I am arguing about halal entrepreneurship as sustainable management? So why is because it's not just about halal. It is not just about permissible. It's not just about Sharia, but also it's a tayyib, safe, sustainable, and good quality in this particular halal industry. So in this context, halal entrepreneurs are the one who wants to carry on the sustainable developments within this halal industry. Well, if we relate to the concept of halal, all right, it has 5 pillars. I think it's 5 pillars of Maqasid Sharia. I don't have to mention it. It covers the protections of life, protections of religions, protections of wealth, protections of intellects, and protections of lineage. All right, every individual or single of these pillars can be straight away related to the halal-preneurship activities. Okay, you can ask questions later. I don't want to elaborate on this simply due to the fact that the time may not allow it. But I recently, late last year, there is a book published by IUM, by myself and my colleagues on halal entrepreneurship. The detail is in there for me to share with you. So go to IUM kind of books store. You can find and make requests for the books. All right, now if we relate to SDGs as well, all right, I mean sustainable development goals, the halal which fine-tunes towards sustainability of it jive very, very well with many pillars of the 17 halal sustainable development goals in this context. So halal is not just about halal, all right? Halal is about promising a sustainable economic development. How this come about? It is halal from religious point of view. At the same time, from business point of view, it is so essential in the markets out there, all right, for the halapreneurs to gear up the activities, because the good business opportunities, be it local, be it national, regional, and global levels, have been wonderful statistically, all right, in terms of a growth. You will see it later if we have times. Simultaneously, the market is rather lucrative, all right, not just in the Muslim nations, but also in the Muslim minority countries, all right, in the Eastern Europe, Western Europe, as well as in the American continents, in addition to African continents. All right. Oh, it's not moving. Yeah, right. All right. Why halal are sustainable? If you look at the markets today, all right, the key trends in halal food markets, we see increasing demands for convenience and packaged food in the Muslim countries. This is food alone. We mentioned about fashion. We can note about travel and holidays, tourism, if you like. All right. Increase in the another drivers for the expanding global halal market is the economic developments in the Muslim countries today, or many Muslim countries today are growing very, very well economically. So they have more affordability levels to purchase halal goods and services in the markets. All right, if you look at OECD reports, all right, World Bank reports, as well as the OIC reports, all right, some countries even touch on double-digit economic growth before the COVID-19. So I will share with you on the post-COVID, because the market driver of this is that the rise in the Muslims populations as well, as bigger contributions to the increasing demand for the halal markets. And it forecasted that it will reach about 2.2 trillions by the year late of last year. All right, the market itself. All right, now, why halal entrepreneurs are sustainable? All right, if we take on the one part of it, is the populations of the Muslims. All right, in the year 2018, the Muslim populations were 1.8 billion. But the survey shows that by the year 2050, all right, 99% of the world Muslim population will reside in just 4 regions. It is much more bigger. And by that year, all right, it's projected that by the year 2074, if I'm not mistaken, with the rates of Muslim populations that is growing, it will overtaken the majority of the populations in the world. All right, if we compare in terms of religious devotions among populations in the world. This is the books that I'm trying to say earlier. All right, Halal Entrepreneurships by me and my co-authors. You can find this from IUM Press. Okay, if you like, if you are interested. So much of this you can have it from the books. All right. So halal employees, we can see today why it's growing. Another aspects of possible sustainability. It's not just about religious requirements. Today, all right, the knowledge of the people, the knowledge of the markets, growing to the extent that growing the ethical consumer markets. And this is in line with halal practice of it. The brands that champion sustainability, all right, outperforms those that did not, all right. So if we look at these figures, right, over 50% of the consumers today willing to pay for sustainable offering, all right, that were driven to health and wellness and the environmental sustainability. So this is in line what is in the halal and toy situations. Well, if we say about halal replacement products alone, all right, why halal are more sustainable? Because the market, the global halal supply chain today, all right, the market has been trying to move toward zero contaminations, toward non-halal material replacements and ingredients. So this industries alone, if you like, all right, has multi-millions dollars, and this is where the roles of halal entrepreneurships to kind of play a part in realizing these activities, like from the fat alone, all right, from the brush, from the gelatins, from the collagens, all right, to replace, because today we have in the markets that the pig, all right, it has been used, the pig sauce has been used right from head to tail, all right, from blood and bone, if you like, you know. So it is a time where the markets, all right, need to realize it, and for the halal entrepreneurship, be it micro, be it small, be it medium enterprises, to together come out and replace this one, and it can be more sustainable because it comes from plant-based, all right, fruit-based source to replace all these animal products, ingredients and materials, if you like. So before the COVID, if we see the potential innovative sectors of halal industries in different sectors in the economy, it has been wonderful increments, you know, right from the market sizes, growth in the halal food and beverages, modest fashions, media and recreations, you know, Muslim-friendly tourisms, halal pharmaceutical, halal cosmetic. It has been tremendous increase over the years. All right. So please let me know if there is times, Dr. Chairman, when I'm talking, I normally lose out my times. All right. So in addition to this one, if we relate to situations of halal innovative sectors, these are the sectors whereby halal entrepreneurship or halal entrepreneurship ponders on, all right, and brave themselves to produce more in those increasing markets to tap with the increasing demands in the markets out there. My slide is not moving. All right, now, all right. Having said those, nonetheless, all right, halal industry for sustainable developments goes not without pre-COVID challenges. There are numerous challenges that halal industry has been confronting with, all right, even before the COVID. First and foremost is the diversity in cultures, regionals and local preferences and practice of the Muslim across the world, of course, right? Different mazhab school of thoughts, if you like, has interpreted differently in terms of the quantums, all right, levels of halalness of it. That's one challenge which has to be resolved by, you know, and under YC, there's a Smith based in Turkey, supposedly to coordinate these issues of diversity, all right, in the halal industry. The second is that the unfriendly or malign acts of introducing non-halal elements to food. All right, these days, halal industry has been competing with vegetarian movements of food, say for examples. So in a way, lots of transparencies and informations and knowledge should be distributed and shared, all right, with the market players out there and the consumers in the markets out there. All right, and the third one is the lack of unified and internationally recognized global halal standards. This is another challenge coming from different consumers, Europe, US, Southeast Asia. In fact, at one time, halal from Malaysia or halal from Indonesia has not been recognized one another. Alhamdulillah, today Muiz and Jakim coming up together and we are recognizing one another. Alhamdulillah, that at least in the regions, so as in Brunei, you know, and Singapore for that matter. All right, now, lacks of international schemes for halal accreditations, certified bodies, right? There are countries like the likes of Jakim, the likes of Muiz, all right, the likes of Mui, all right? We have recognized different bodies to certify, all right, halal certification amongst industrial players and manufacturers, so forth and so forth. So this needs to be unified and globally recognized so as much more smooth and erase out the misinterpretations among consumers in the markets. Halal travel markets face challenges, especially these days. We are still lacking of what we call quote and unquote Muslim friendly tourism. All right, we still have in the movings today, but not fully halfly have moved yet in terms of Muslim friendly accommodation. All right, be it small, be it a 5-star hotel, certified halal Muslim friendly, what sort of forms that this should be certified based on investments, Sharia compliance, so forth and so forth. This has not been agreed among nations. Even in Malaysia also, there are 2 or 3 Muslim friendly certifications bodies, if you like. Regulations imposed by certain government agencies against religious attire, all right, has been a challenge in the modest fashions today. All right, because fashions in most of the occasions, it followed by cultures rather than religious in some countries. So because of this, some contentious discussion among the scholars, what should be the parameters of the modest fashions among Muslims, right? Getting finance and government supports in halal industry is another level of challenge, all right? In addition to halal ingredients, availability and resources amongst the market players and amongst Muslim halal entrepreneurship. So all in all, we have the impacts of the COVID on the halal industry, all right? Of course, before 2019, halal industry has been growing very, very dramatic. Before it drops to about 8.1%, all right? So pre and post-COVID, all right, we see the post-COVID one reduced to 3.1% from the average projections of the halal products and lifestyle sector. This is was sourced from the global Islamic economy. And we also sector that hit worse when the COVID comes in terms of halal. The worst case scenario coming from tourism and hospitality sector, it drops to about as much as 70% in the market as a result of the COVID-19 to the halal Muslim friendly. All right, and if we take the, if I share here with the Malaysian case a little bit, all right, in terms of how it affects the businesses or halal industry, all right, with no sale or less sale, all right, most of the halapreneurs spend from their saving, and the survival risk is very high, and some of them reduce hours of work, unpaid leave, you know, to accommodate the needs of the COVID impacts of the markets. So all in all, we see about 42.5% of the business need more than 6 months to recover from the COVID. This is from our survey. All right, this is another indications of the COVID impacts on the halal industry. All right, so what I would like to focus now is more on post-COVID challenges. What are the challenges that post-COVID has been felt by the halal industry? All right, one thing is about embracing new normal. All right, what does it mean new normals? Well, we are now is kind of our types of new normals because we are online instead of face-to-face. All right, there's a new normal, quote unquote, is very important. Therefore, for the business or halapreneurship to be in the new normal, they have to be friendly toward cyber present, friendly toward e-commerce system, all right, and have this ERP in the business, or we call it enterprise resource planning, so a lot more, so as they can have the market, they can have the business activity, business transactions, all right, with the wider markets out there, even though not face-to-face, they are able to have it, all right, for the business to transact from one to the other points. And of course, along the way, they have to accommodate and adopt Industrial Revolution 4, all right, AR, augmented real-time application technology, all right, artificial intelligence, so forth and so forth, within this cyber presence, within this e-commerce. Okay, the recovery impacts of COVID-19 also differ across sectors, if you like. Again, as mentioned earlier, traveling sector has been the most affected by the COVID-19. All right, they lost a lot of workers, resources. Some of them closed down the hotel, 5-star hotels, so on and so forth. But the most gain sector is food and beverages. All right. I was fortunate to involve with consultancy projects with the companies who accommodate, adopt the e-commerce right away in the middle of COVID, and they can push up the sale, right, to as much as 150% after 6 months of technology adoptions. This is my experience with those companies that I have got involved with. Okay, halal food and beverages sector facing poorer in the year 2019, but because of this COVID-19, people stay at home, people eat more than people traveling or do other things. So people needs more, demand is higher for the food and beverage industry. All right, the only thing is that because of, in certain countries, because of the COVID, the fundings, the support programs from the agencies, from the authority tend to be much less. Okay, another challenges including the Muslim-friendly travels that don't realize the full potentials of they don't feel that much of market yet, right? The growing is much slower, and so as the investment flow in is much slower to reactivate as opposed of COVID challenge still within them, you know. And of course, there are other challenges. I think I don't want to share it all. Let me move to other parts of it. So I don't know how much of the time that is left. Right now. Let's look at what I'm proposing for the halapreneurship is that to emphasize more on sustainable business management model. There are two key components, a secular business model that they can emphasize on in order to be more sustainable in the markets and in line with the consumer realizations that I showed you earlier in the graph. One is the biological materials, which means that the represents green recycle and cycle materials that is based on biological. So this can be saving through biodegrades over times, all right? And it can be good for the environments and safe environment and reproduce it to be offered to the markets. That's one. Secondly is technical material, we call it, all right? So therefore, the halapreneurship embarks on this a lot, right? Materials such as metal, plastic, synthetic, chemical, all right? Must be continuously recycled rather than putting into the waste, all right? So this can be consuming over and over, reducing the depletions of resources in the economy and bring about more productivity to the economy as well. So as a way forward, business and industry player, all right, should think along the lines of at least 5 or 7 key areas of digitalizations. This is especially for halapreneurs in micro, small, and medium enterprises. All right. So what I'm putting here is there are 5 of it, but ERP and CRM is 2 remaining components in the top there. ERP is enterprise resource planning. CRM is consumer relationship management. All right. And this all needs to be integrated into one whole system with procurements and inventory, with accounting and taxes, with digital marketing, e-commerce, as well as e-post and contactless payments. So in today, all right, it is a much needed areas of emphasizing by the respective authority. We cannot go away from digitalizations of the business, all right, moving toward a more cyber presence, more e-commerce and industrial revolutions and augmented real-time technology. So through this, all right, enable them to sell the product despite the fact that they cannot go face-to-face, but transaction all online. And for halapreneurs, they don't have to be present in different locations, because the transactions of the business can be done over the fingertips, all right, with your handphone and laptop. So this will be a very productive, all right, efficient, transparent, and less time consuming, all right, to activate the business. So I think with that, Dr. Chairman, Dr. Ihwan, thank you very much for your patience with me. I do hope I am within your time frame still. And I welcome to any questions from the participant. If I cannot answer it today, I will be more responsible to email or share with other communication. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. That's great. Thank you, Your Excellency, Professor Moha Asri Abdullah, for your fantastic presentation. However, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, you may have a question, and we will have a question and answer session after the second presentation has been delivered. So the next speaker, Mr. Wijayanto, will deliver the topic about strategies and opportunity for entering the US market. I believe it is a midnight time at the moment in Washington, D.C. So we really appreciate for your time. I will read a brief profile of his career first before presentation. Mr. Wijayanto obtained his bachelor degree from Pajajaran University, Bandung, Indonesia, and master degree from Bogor Agriculture University in Business Administration and Master of Economic and International Trade Policy from Indonesia University, Jakarta. Mr. Wijayanto has been serving as trade attaché at Embassy of Indonesia in Washington, D.C. since September 2019. Per trade attaché, he was assigned as Deputy Director for Agriculture, Forestry, Seafood Product at Directorate of Import of DG Foreign Trade from 2018 to August 2019. And he has been as a Director of ITPC Chicago from 2014 to September 2017. Before responsibility as Director ITPC Chicago, Wijayanto had signed as Assistant Deputy Director of Export Agriculture and Forestry, Minister of Trade from 2009 until 2013, and Assistant Deputy Director of Trade Defense from 2013 until 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, I will invite the distinguished speaker, Mr. Wijayanto. Your Excellency, Mr. Wijayanto, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Pak. Sorry,
That's great.
trouble tonight because due to the weather condition here. Very well.
Yeah, how are you, Mr. Wijayanto? I hope you're well.
I'm good, Pak Ihwan. Thank you for
thank you.
me today for this prestigious conference by Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta, ya Pak ya.
Yes. So very appreciate for your time, Pak.
Yeah, my pleasure, Pak. Yeah. So yeah, first of all, thank you for the invitation for me for speaking regarding the potential and strategy to penetrating U.S. market, particularly regarding the export potential for Indonesian product in U.S. market. And I'm also very grateful and also I'm pleased to be one of the speaker here in International Conference Economic and Business study held by the University of Surakarta. Of course, this is a very good opportunity for me sharing a broad aspect of the export and business with USA. As we know that the USA is one of the biggest market in the world, and perhaps at this time we can take a look deeper and digging the potential of the Indonesian product of many sectors that probably for the students or maybe the candidates of the exporters from the new millennial, probably in this regard is with the students or the graduate of the University of Surakarta would like to be one of the exporters of our products. And maybe if don't mind, the committee already have my presentation. Can share a screen right now.
Sure. We will prepare for your slide presentation.
Yes, thank you. All right. Okay. First, as mentioned by Pa Ihwan, as a Dean of Economic Faculty at the University of Surakarta, Muhammadiyah Surakarta, I would like again to introduce myself. My name is Wijayanto. I'm a commercial attache at Embassy of Indonesia in Washington DC, USA. I've been working as this position since 2019. Before that, I was in Chicago during 2014 and 2017 as Indonesian Trade Promotion Center Director. Sure that the USA is a very huge countries with the geographic condition ranging from the subtropical countries region out to the tropical region, and size of the USA itself in terms of the geographic size is quite a bit similar with Indonesia, and as we know that USA is the third largest of population in the world, 330 million peoples resided there, and with the GDP of the country itself in 2020 is about 20.94 trillion US dollars. And during the pandemics, the GDP of USA's increased by 23.19 trillion. USA itself is the consists of 50 states, and with the potential of the market in terms of the economic scale, the USA itself is about 33,544 GDP per capita per year in 2020 in 2020. And from the figures, we can see that the customer behavior of Americans is very love to buy and quite consumptive. The US population itself also as a backbone of the economy of USA, and then for the economy of scale itself is also backed by backbone by the capacity of the both human resources and also natural resources. U.S. Society in the U.S. itself is very large, and as a top export destination, as I mentioned before, Indonesia is number 21 in the position as the supplier of the non-oil and gas export to U.S. And Indonesia itself has a surplus about 12.81 billion US dollar to US, and of course the surplus itself is positioning the US as the largest contributors for our devisa in 2021 period of January up to the November 2021. And next slide. Before I want to continue my presentation in the aspect of the product itself, Indonesia export to US in 2020 is about 20.23 billion and is up to the 0.4% compared with the previous year. And the trade balance really very promising for Indonesia because it's very large size of the potential for increasing our export because we know that Indonesia is one of the country that really rich in terms of the natural resource and also for the human resource because the market itself Indonesia can contributing to many destination export countries not only for USA but also China, Japan, Europe, and many other countries. The five main products of Indonesia to US in 2020 consists of the apparel, which SS code is harmonious system code 61 and 62 is about 3.5 billion in terms of the value of export in 2020, followed by the rubber products 1.5 billion US dollar, footwear 1.4 billion US dollar, seafood 2.1 billion US dollar, and electronic by 2.2 billion US dollar. So for this number, I think we can predict that in the near future, Indonesia export value in the 5 years projected can be more bigger than previous years. And beside the five main products, we also have what we call it as the potential products, which are electronic products, increased by 47.8% in 2020. Seafood also increased by 11.9%, furniture 32.6%, animal and vegetable fats is about 5.9%, machinery products is also 17.1%, jewelry products is about 54.2%, and also others products including miscellaneous chemical products is about 23.6% increase compared the previous years. Indonesia right now, as I mentioned before, is the 21st rank of the US supplier from others supplier around the world, and the market itself for the US market from our data based on US Census Bureau, the total US market in 2020 is about 2.34 trillion US dollar. So from this data, we can expect that Indonesia competitiveness should be more better and promising in the near future also. And if you are compare with the Asian countries, our position right now is at the fifth ranks, and then in this term, for your information, that Indonesia is also still compete with some our neighbor countries, including Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, and also Thailand. But we can confidence that the Indonesian products still have the more competitiveness in terms of the pricing and also quality. I will mention later in the next slide. Okay, the next slide. So yeah, as the data from the January until October 2021, the USA is the second largest trading partner for Indonesia after China, with the value of Indonesia export is about 21.6 billion during January and October periods. It's an increase of 28.75% compare the same period in 2020. Indonesia is also recorded the highest trade surplus and highest growth in January, October 2021 with USA. It's been like more than 70 years our bilateral cooperation with USA, and as we know that even though we are facing with the challenging period during this pandemic, Indonesia still can be surplus for 30.64 billion with percentage of increase about 28.83% compared to the same period the same period from the previous year. And for our analysis, from our analysis of Indonesian mine export product to America in January up to October 2021 periods, our products relatively enjoying the increasing quite high if we are compare with the previous years, like apparel in 2021 we enjoy the increase about 21%, 21.75%. Electronics, machinery and equipment also enjoy 10.69%. Seafood also increased by 29.68%, and many other products, particularly for our main products export to USA, enjoy the increase of value, and also some of them is also increase in terms of the volume. Next slide. So in these tables, we can see from the data of BPS, Badan Pusat Statistik, that Indonesia right now, if you compare with others bilateral trade partners around the globe, we are still in the second position behind the Tiongkok or China, but in terms of the surplus, we are the highest, as I mentioned before, and also followed by the Japan, India, Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, Philippines, Thailand, and Taiwan as well. So from this perspective, I think we also encouraging new exporters will be joining the business of export, even though we know that to export it's not easy. As a becoming exporters at this moment is also challenging with the condition of the supply chain, for instance, or the increasing of the logistic pricing, but we can still convincing that the export business with the various destination countries, including USA, is being tremendous growth, because as we know before a pandemic, the growth of export is relative around the world is quite relatively in I think it's what we call it as the not really high, but not really low, so we can this conservative condition. But since era pandemic, after the vaccination is becoming common in many countries, and the reducing of the cases of COVID. So the rebound of economic in many countries, including advanced countries like USA, impacted to the increasing of the demand itself. So that's why export to USA from many countries showing the trend of increasing and fostering many new demand from some products, including electronics as well as the like edible oils like palm oils. And we know also in this moment the increasing of the commodity pricing in the international market or commodity markets is also give the good impact for Indonesia, because some of the commodities like palm oil or even other commodities like plantation commodities, coffee, tea, spices is also is being hike of the pricing right now. So it's very, very promising for many exporters. And next slide. Product opportunity for Indonesia from various provinces, from Aceh to Papua to US, especially if we are in the context of the our potential or main products like electronic, footwear, furniture, apparel, coffee, spices, seafood, and many others. It's actually very supported by the stakeholders, particularly from the exporters from many provinces, and also the policy of the how to develop the new exporters conducted by the Ministry of Trade is quite give the positive results for our export to US, like from Java provinces, from Sumatra, Kalimantan, as well as from the Papua, Sulawesi, Maluku, and other provinces. Many of the government from the provincial level and up to the kabupaten kota level also supported the program how to develop the export or how to growing the new exporters, and this is quite give the many new exporters coming from many provinces. Okay, next slide. Export opportunities. One of the products that I would like to raise at this moment is products of food and beverage. Why I chosen this is one of the products as our topics today, because as we know that many of Indonesian products is very well known as good the quality, and also for the quantity itself is quite huge, because Indonesia is also very well known for the abundance of the resources, and the product of the food and beverage. One thing is that Indonesia also supported by the many good manufacturing, like Indofood, and then we have Mayora, we have Kapal Api Group, many things, and also others products as well that very quite the compliance with the international standard in industry, and which all of the the potential and also the availability of the industry in Indonesia, and we know that the USA also supported by the increase of the consuming of the food and beverage. It would be deliver the demand itself or fulfilled by many products, including from Indonesia. And one things that we have to take a look more regarding the regulation of food industry in US. If you would like to fulfill the market, we have to know about some of the regulation that the exporters or the potential exporter or the candidate of exporters would like to be one of the supplier of food and beverage product in USA. One is we have to compliance with US FDA registration. US FDA is authority, like in Indonesia we have a BPOM. So we have to read and also learn about the US FDA regulation that the provision itself require the exporters or the supplier to have some of certificate regarding the food standard as well as the labeling and also the information of the nutrition for instance, and many other aspect that have to learn from their regulation. We can see the regulation itself through the website at the www.fda.org.gov, and if we want to get the certificate itself, it's not really hard to fulfill the requirement as long as we have a industry standard. And besides, we have to know about the US regulation on food safety, and also for the logistic aspect, we have to also take a look the appointment of the local agent. So we have to appoint a local agent. For some products, exporters are required to appoint an agent or representative of the company, which is the importers of USA. And the third that we have to know is about the labeling. All of the products in USA, particularly for the food and beverage product, have to have the labeling in each their products or their packaging. And the last thing that we have to do about comply with all of the permits, like some products have different regulation regarding the safety and health, and we have to check the import regulation through the US custom as well, beside the US FDA. US custom in Indonesia is similar with the Bea Cukai. It has the authority to check the products every time they have the system that alert this product is not comply with the US regulation. And at the Ministry of Trade, we also give the information regarding the import as well, and we can check through the email of www.exim.kemendak.go.id. Next slide. This is some of the information regarding the labeling requirement that already explained through the website of the FDA. and also we can go through the website and get some important information about the details of the labeling itself, like the information panel, and then statement of identity, country of origin, and then the net quantity also stated at the packaging itself. And important, the second important information is about the nutrition fact of labeling inside the product itself, that the contents of information of panel, and then country of origin, and also statement of identity. Next slide. It's also regarding with the details of nutrition facts of labeling requirement, which are including ingredient list. This is include the name of the ingredient, the food source in parentheses following the common or unusual name of the major food, allergen, also the allergen in the list of the ingredient itself. PDP is like the principal display of panel, and also ingredient list. Place the word contents followed by the name of the food source with the major products allergen is derived. Okay, next slide is about the performance of export spices to US January October 2021. USA is one of the major of the main products of Indonesia spices. Some of the spices of Indonesia is quite dominated by the our products like vanilla, nutmeg, and cloves, and also cinnamon. Indonesia export of spices to US in 2021 is also quite high. It's about 143.2 million US dollar, and the trend itself is similar with the other products that related to foods that are quite high too. And the next products that I would like to mention here is about jewelry products. Export of the jewelry based on the gold is also enjoying the increase by 66.8% in 2020 compared to the previous year. And I would like to also talk about the GSP. GSP is General System of Preference, or one of the program that the U.S. government provide for the developing countries like Indonesia. And Indonesia have this facilitation since 1980, and since 2021 we are the biggest beneficial of the GSP program for US. The program itself is give more than 3,500 HS code that enjoy 0% of import duty to US. So it means that every products that listed in the GSP program will be get the 0% import duty to US. So it will be more competitiveness in pricing compared to the other countries that not get this GSP program. Next slide. So I would like explain about the export opportunities and challenges to US market. As we know that America is very competitive market. The intense pricing competition and demands is for high quality. So it's mean that the main challenges for exporters, especially from mediums and small enterprises to enter US market, is about the economic of scale. So it's mean that we have to have pricing competitiveness, and also we have to compete with other companies that have standard and also the efficiency of the products that result to the more competitiveness in pricing. But we know that there's still very large room for our exporters to have their market scale, the market access. So I think we can still optimistic that the Indonesian product in US market for some of the products like furniture, handicraft, foods and beverage, and many others, including jewelry, still has a potential market in US. Even though we know that we have a challenging, problem or obstacles with the logistic pricing and also availability due to the some problem in the major port in USA, like in USA port or maybe in Long Island or New Jersey port, as well as in the New Orleans port. But the government of USA itself is still working on it to how to make a supply chain stagnation or like congestion in some ports in USA resolved by the local government as well as from the federal level, with some of the new regulation that will be implementing in the near future still being discussed at the level of the federal government as well as from the Congress as well. Okay, next slide. Export tips to US for the some exporters, especially for the new one. How to establish the credibility or virtual existency by developing a good shape of the virtual presence, like you have to enrich the company website, which contains the company background, like a detail of product, and also how to give the storytelling for the customer or the candidate of the importers, and making the active communication with the exporter or with the importers, like through the email or maybe with the media, social media. It's very important for make the credibility of the our company or our product trusted by the US importer or distributors. Next tips is how we can make the market research before we are export to USA. Like we have to understand the market and business in USA, examining the US market in terms of the price segmentation, identity the players like importers, buyer, competitors, traders, off-taker, customers, regulator, and association, and then understand the product itself. We have to learn the demand of the product in US. Not we are just selling our products, but we have to know what is the trend products in USA. Like for instance, for the jewelry product, we have told that products itself, the design, the composition of the materials, we have really concern on that, because US customers, they have the good background of the education. They really picky on the how the materials made from, or the resources is coming from the legal sourcing, and also how the product itself also can be good influence for the community, like for the poor people, how this product can alleviate the poorer, and how the products also comply with the environment aspects. So these things that we have to take attention on that, and we can also get some aspect of the advantages on the on the environment aspect, on the labor aspect, or from the resources aspect, like by getting the certification from the international body, for instance, for the food and beverage product. We can get the organics certification from some of the international organization, but sure that it's also coming with the high cost of the production. But importers of advanced country like USA, they not reluctant to pay more if we can prove that our product is good quality, and also already fit with some of the aspect like environment and also labor, or the sustainability, for instance. Next, so for the export tips to US, the next one is local agent. We can point it the local agent as our partner, and also the representative, to communicate with the importers or distributor in US, as well as to monitoring or overseeing the regulation that implemented on the ground, to avoid some of the problem, maybe because the contaminants, or maybe some of disputing if there is on the fields they have found something wrong with our products. But the local agent is not mandatory. We can also communicate with our importers how to avoid with some of the obstacles in the field, because some of the importers also showing their good initiative or good willingness to help our exporters to get their market here in USA. And the last thing that I would like to deliver today is we also helping and assisting the exporter from Indonesia, like we have the exhibition and also trade show. We attending some of trade show and exhibition in couple products in couple fields, like in the food and beverage. We are frequently attended the summer and fancy food in New York, and global specialty coffee for the coffee products. And also for the furniture product, we also attending the outdoor furniture show, Sourcing Magic Las Vegas for apparel, and also for the houseware products, we attended houseware expo, and also frequently attending the houseware expo in some of the cities in the main city in USA, and facilitate the stakeholder meeting. We also hold the like a business matchmaking between our exporters and also importers. Once they have the dealing with the products, they can go through by themselves. We just monitoring or seeing the process itself, and give the advice if is needed. And the last thing that we also give the facilitations about the promotion aspects, like we also uh, make a media promotion through our website or social media, and also we put our advertising at the some of the public area, advertising through the billboard in some of the big cities in US as well. So this thing that I would like to convey in this conference, probably if there's some question or uh, yeah, discussion on what I have delivered, I will be happy to answer. So I get back to the moderator to continue the discussion. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Bapak Wijayanto, for the excellent presentation and sharing recent global trade data, including between Indonesia and the US, especially regarding import and export activity, as well as the competitiveness of Indonesian product. As we know that the US is the largest market in the world in terms of the population and geographical perspective. So I believe that many issues will arise from this circumstances. So now we move to question and answer session. In the first session, we have so many information about an idea as well about the halal industry regarding to the sustainability management, the arising issue maybe on the potential sector of the halal industry regarding the pre and post COVID-19 pandemic challenges, and how the digitalization can contribute to this opportunity. And obviously, there are many issues from this your perspective, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. So please raise your hand by clicking the reaction menu if you'd like to ask a question directly, and you could write your question on the chat line, and I've checked there is one question on the chat line. So please raise hand if you like to give a question directly. Yes, I noticed one from the Professor Anton, and I give you maybe 2 or 3 participants can give a question for the first session. All right, so I think Professor Anton, you could unmute your mic and asking your question directly, and I will continue to Ali Zainal Abidin as well, and probably I will read from the chat line question. So, Prof. Anton, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pak Ihwan. This is only a question for Prof. Moha Abdullah, or I can also ask for Pak Wijayanto, because I have
yes,
two
you can do both,
questions.
please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first for Professor Moha Abdullah, I believe that when listen of your speech, there are many interesting issues, especially when you explain about the emergence of halal business in Malaysia, and also in general in globally, the market potential, and also what happened in the halal industry itself. But my question is about, because we are in this conference, there are many students, undergraduate and also postgraduate students, who perhaps interested in conducting a research on halal industry. Perhaps Prof. Moha Abdullah could explain to us what is the contemporary issues or interesting issues on research on halal industry, or perhaps specifically what kind of the recent methods or research issues on halal industry. That is my question to Professor Moha Abdullah. And the second for Pak Wijayanto, you explained about the potential market in the US for SMA, for small and mid-sized entrepreneurship. And in Indonesia, as you see that you also know that SMA is considered as the biggest business organization, and I think it dominates the business organization in Indonesia. Do you have any experience of SMA from Indonesia, which is perhaps success in entering the market in the US? And if there is example or best practice of how SMA entering the US, perhaps you might explain it to us. And the problem in SMA, I believe many researchers find that there are many SMEs in Indonesia have problems on the quality control, how to adopt the standard quality from US to Indonesian quality control. So we have problem on that issues. And you also mentioned that there are problem of logistic, and I think for several months after the pandemic, there is an increasing price of logistic of how to export product from Indonesia. Is this phenomena is only temporary, or perhaps there is a certain structural issues about the phenomena, so that perhaps exporters from Indonesia have to face the increasing price of the logistic? That is my two questions for two speakers on this conference. Thank you, Pak Ihwan.
Thank you very much, Professor Anton Agustiawan. Now, Pak Ali Zainal Abidin, time is yours.
Yes, thank you very much for the chance.
Yeah, you could, right.
Okay, thank you for the chance, Dr. Ihwan Susila. My name is Ali, I'm from UMS, and I would like to thank you, first of all, to Prof. Moha, Asri, Abdullah, and Mr. Wijayanto for the excellent presentation. However, I have a question especially for Mr. Wijayanto as the trade attaché in Washington, D.C. Maybe this is the era of big data, Mr. Wijayanto. So as one of the, maybe one of the small and enterprises in Solo especially, we would like to know whether ITPCs or maybe Ministry of Trade or maybe even trade attachés have such a big data for micro enterprises to find the information, especially in terms of finding the right products for the right countries, and then maybe another data for the how do we find the potential buyers for each product, because that would always be the main important thing if we want to export in every single country, especially in US. Thank you very much for the chance. That is my question. Thank you.
Oh, right. That's great. So we have two questions directly from the participant, and we have two questions from the chat line. Allow me to write again from the participant question. The first one about the research on the halal industry from Professor Anton Agustiawan, and the experience of the SME successfully entering to US market, and from the Mr. Ali Zainal, it's about the big data and MSC. So how to find out the potential market in US. And we have two questions from the chat line. My name is Elida. I have a question toward food and beverage product. Since the product are known as halal food and beverage, while a lot of people in Western countries have not yet been aware about this halal food. Therefore, my question, how to engage with non-Muslim customer in Western country? Thank you. So number two, from the Nur Adiani, I have wondered that almost 70% of Indonesia economy relies on the informal and grassroots economy. Yet you mentioned that industry have to embrace technology in post-COVID world. How is your take on that? How will they cope with the challenge? So this is our question from the participant. So please, Mr. Wijayanto and Professor Moha to answer this question. Thank you.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Dr. Ihwan, for your kind time given to me. All right, let me respond the participants who directed to me in terms of their questions. First and foremost is from our deans, Professor Anton, who asked about the recent issues on halal industries. There are numbers of issues currently has been confronting halal industry as a whole. Partly I have mentioned it in my presentations earlier. All right. One of the issues is about, as I mentioned, is about the lack of unified internationally global recognitions of halal standards. Different countries practice different standards in recognizing halal certifications body, in recognizing manufacturers and producers to produce food and beverage of fashions or Muslim-friendly tourism products, so forth and so forth, or services. So this is a very quite of issues in the halal industries, which means that the countries need to sit down. Even though the efforts has been made by Smiths under OIC, it has not been materialized yet in terms of consensus. What is the base middle ground whereby each country can agree upon? That's one. Secondly, is about the preferences and practice of the religions among Muslims nation, majority Muslim nation, and Muslim countries, as we are coming from different backgrounds. We are in Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Brunei, Thailand, for some extent. It's okay because we are more or less in under one kind of or rumpun, we call it, right? In Indonesia and in Malay, we call it rumpun. It's okay. At least we have commonality within diversity. That is understandable. But if we take those from Africa who has different school of thoughts, and Maliki as opposed to Safi and whatnot, so different interpretations of this, especially with regards to the halal food consumptions, right? For someone, I still remember scholars, Muslim scholar like Hamdan, Ustad Hamdan from US mentions when the physical of previously non-halal food has changed in terms of substance, color, and everything. Even though from non-halal source, it can be halal to consume, but for some, it's still, for some scholars, they still don't recognize this. So this is parameters that we are talking about, an issue which needs to be resolved amongst the Muslim nations and Muslim players in the market. There are other issues that we are confronted with today, as I mentioned, also in the rise of technology. How can micro, small, and medium enterprises embrace the technology? And this coming to a question from Sister Noor Andriati, if I'm not mistaken. The question from the posting chat asked this question because according to her, about 80%, which actually of business in Indonesia coming from MSMEs. Actually, it's not 80 or 70%, it's 99.8% of micro, small, and medium enterprises establishment consists of the total numbers of business establishments in Indonesia. Yes, it is, when you look at this, how can micro, small, and medium enterprises adapt technology? It can be very expensive. Yeah, I agree with you. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge the technological ability and capabilities today in the market. It's getting cheaper and cheaper when more and more software and coming to the market. That's one, which means that over the long run, economies of scale takes place. All right, much cheaper competitive price can be obtained by micro and small medium enterprises. the third point to respond to your questions is that many governments, I believe Indonesian authority is not exceptional to this, that are providing support programs, be on the technology, be in the financial facilities for micro and small enterprises to adopt technology. In the case of Malaysia, for example, we have the likes of numbers of agencies providing funding from the governments, especially after COVID-19 assistance fund, channels to the associations of micro, small, and enterprises. And this is a very accessible to wider micro, small, and the focus is especially on micro and small enterprises rather than medium, because medium, they have more capability to obtain on their own. Therefore, the law of like MTDC, right, in the context of Malaysia, the agency provide free, not just consultation, all right, to choose which particular companies to engage when they would like to upgrade their technological presence or cyber presence or e-commerce for that matter, but also provide a funding for them to choose from. So this is more accessible, all right? So no worries about the money, because the government's also under this COVID-19, they have pumped in China a numbers of fundings program, even though they don't give what financial means, but they give the accessibility to the technology, whereby the small, micro and small can adopt it, and when you launch, implement it, all right. As I mentioned, I work with KPMG Malaysia on 30 top companies for their capacity building. So one of the pathways for them to increase capacity buildings is on cyber presence. So when we recommend them to engage companies for cyber presence, we can see the sale and revenue shot up 150% after 6 months, so as mentioned in my early talks. So this is something that a very impressive growth for micro and small enterprises. All right, let me go to the Sister Elida, right, who asked about how to market halal product. This is a good question. Thank you for the question, all the questions, but in particular this one, Sister Elida. All right, I agree that it is a monumental hurdle for us, right, to market halal products, because for the non-Muslim in particular, even though halal they don't know, and this is undeniable. You are right. However, all right, there are many ways for us to promote through halal marketing and brandings. All right, most of which what has been done, all right, by halapreneurs these days, all right, they use to promote through products through the best use of natural resources. That means instead of using animal products, they use a natural base. Say, for example, I have a couple of companies in Malaysia. They changed the this yogurt, cheese yogurt, all right? Yogurt, this is yogurt families, so-called, all right? From animal, or we call it rennet base. These are the names of the animal in the ingredients in the products, to the natural plants-based products. You know, they innovate this. You know, the pineapple trunk, pineapple. You know, they have trunk pillar inside a pineapple. Okay, and that pillar is being made to replace the cheese and yogurt products. All right, and it has been used by different companies. Okay, and based on this, it will be more receptive for consumers in the market, because it is not animal, it is natural-based plants. You know, that's one way of addressing the issues. Second way is how we can protect consumers' well-being through halal industry. All right, that means we have to market in such a way to portray the halal and toyib concept within the halal products, all right, which means that to ensure the well-being of the Muslims, non-Muslim, and all consumers alike, all right, safe and good to consume. That means we don't have we don't have to relate to any non-well-being, not a good product, but it's a good and wholesome products. And that is the what the motto is. Another ways of promoting this, of course, is through educations and develops trust with customers. You know, it is quite common in business, right? To market, especially products to China. You need to penetrate the market. You need a long-term based relationship. It cannot be one day off, and then they buy your idea. No, all right. Develop trust is something that consumers should be passionate enough, and entrepreneurs should be passionate enough. All right. While saying this, there are numbers of other ways to marketing and branding strategies, but these days, do not ignore social media, be it Facebook, be it Instagram, TikTok, you name it. These days, you know, Twitter's. These are the mechanisms that many entrepreneurs use it today. That's why technology digitalization is so immensely essential for the marketing. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you very much, Professor Moha, Asri Abdullah. So, Bapak Wijayanto, could you please respond for the question? You probably to unmute your mic, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ihwan. And I would like to respond the question from Professor Anton and also Dr. Ali Zainal, as well as two ladies. Yeah, I forgot the. Okay. First for the question from Professor Anton regarding the SME's success in US. Yes, Prof. I would like to raise some of the SMEs that probably we can mention that the success story of those companies or SMEs will be inspiring the others how to penetrate the market like USA. As we know that USA, it's like a market that we call it as a tough market. We have to taught ourselves how to learn many things, not only regarding the regulation, but also the trend itself, how to compete with technology, with competitors, how to advance ourselves in a marketing system or maybe management at all. But in these regards, maybe I would like to share the story of the SMEs in East Java province that related with the jewelry products. It is like not quite a small one, but it's like a medium. And they're trying to figure out how to compete with the other suppliers of jewelry in US market. And their step is how to embrace the trend through what we call it as the social media marketing system, because as you know in USA itself, the trend of the e-commerce in recent years quite impressive compared to the traditional market or conventional commerce system, because they have quite tough and also consistent in how to improve their products. Those SMEs enjoy their market share in US, and they also cooperate with some of the importers of jewelry, and they also help. The importer itself is also provide the assistance and also the transfer of knowledge as well as the skills to their partner in Indonesia. And I think instead of we are trying to fight alone, or maybe we just rely on our capacity, why don't we broader our networking through the emails or the social media, or maybe we can go through the many events or seminar like this as a part of how to broader the perspective of the product itself, because in the export business, not only the aspect of the capacity or the our financial backup, but also how we can connect with many business college or the industry itself. So in USA, our office is not only from our Trade Attache office, but also from Indonesian Trade Promotion Center in both cities, Los Angeles and Chicago. We are quite frequently hosting some events that maybe it will be beneficial for the SMEs, well as for the candidate of exporters, like from students of university, for instance, because in the era of the millennial itself, I think many of the students of the maybe from Surakarta, Muhammadiyah, or wants to be one of the candidate of the businessmen or business peoples, and we are trying to encouraging how to give the information as we have through the emails, if the exporters want to connect with us, and also trying to following the aspect of sustainability, for instance, that really very trends right now in USA for the some particular products. And I think the second, many others, the success story of the SMEs in Indonesia, the US market, like also for if you are talking about the coffee industry or coffee business, many of cooperative from the farmers in many provinces, like in the supplier of coffee Indonesia from Aceh province, from West Java, from East Java, from Lampung or South Sumatra. They are making like a cooperative format in order to enhance their capacity to provide the big quantity that quite common in US, that many importers, their demands in quantity is high, and for this situation they are not be able to do by themselves, so they have to share or they have to collaborate with other farmers to like forming the cooperative instead of their just do it by themselves, in order to compete with the big companies like from big exporter that used to be like export to US as well. And this the format or the strategy is quite effective to tackle the obstacles of the demands in terms of the volume. That's maybe I can respond to Professor Anton. And the next question regarding the logistic aspect and the problem on the ground right now. That's right, Professor. I think this is like a structural problem, yeah, due to some of the players for the ocean freight right now in the world. It's dominated by companies from Asia and Europe. Even though US is a big market, they don't have enough players to accommodate the demand of the logistic business right now. So the more consolidated for the logistic, it's affected to the the reducing of the players, and in response or the effect of the condition, somehow when the traffic jam happened to the port, or the like congestions in the port of the US because of the pandemic, the labor if not in the normal situations. So this is happened to the process of the inbound and outbound among the main port in USA, and affected to the whole the world, because many of countries including China, they are depart their logistic to US, and then the process of the loading and unloading at the port itself is not quite cope with the normal situation. So that's why it's happened. And also the players of over ocean freight in the world right now, not as many as before. I think there's not more than 20 international ocean freight that have their mother vessel to transport the products around the globe right now. This is the situation, Prof. So that's why we are trying to figure out how to manage the situation, because we don't want to, because this situation, the export to US as well as the import also impacted by the logistic problem. This is maybe the first question, the question from Professor Anton, and from Dr. Ali Zainal regarding the database, ya Pak ya. I would like to say that we have the system, Pak, of the database of importer or distributor in USA, that sometimes we use this data for connected with our export inquiries. For instance, if you have like products that you want to sell to US, and then you asking to us who is the importer or distributor for those products, we can provide it for you. You also have your company background, and also catalog products. So make curation on your products, and if it's needed, we can make a business matchmaking on the products that you want to offer to the importers. And also to embrace the what we call it, the digital era. I think one of the quite challenging situation for Indonesian exporters, especially from SMEs, because the database, or maybe the situation of the competition. I think we have to more effort to get more data, and also how to convincing their partner in order to buy their products. If I'm not mistaken, what is the another question, Pak Ali Zainal? You said that about the business catalog, or database. Anything else, Pak?
Yes, about the database, Mr. Wijayanto. About the database. It's like, for instance, if we want to access those important information, so that we can matchmaking the products with importers, and then if we want to export this products, where should we start if we want to find the information for the distributors, as already said?
I think if you get more information, you can send the email to us, and I will respond it to you in what specific products, maybe for the what specific players on this field. Don't hesitate to contact me anything, but I will share my email to
Right.
the participants
Yes.
here.
Sure. All right. Thank you very much for the responding the question, and I'm afraid that we don't have a time to continue the Q&A session. So thank you very much to all participants for extending this conference, and special thank you to distinguished excellent speakers, Professor Moha, Asri, Abdullah, and Bapak Wijayanto, who have delivered a brilliant presentation, and thank you for your kindly to share your knowledge and your experiences. So we hope we can meet again in the next conference in the near future. Without further ado, let's close this session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Time is back to Pak Anas. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Wassalamualaikum.
Okay. Yeah. All right. As usual. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ihwan Susila, for leading our keynote speeches. And of course, thank you very much to our distinguished keynote speakers, Professor Moha, Asri Abdullah, and Mr. Wijayanto, for the insightful discussions. We would now like to symbolically present the certificates to our keynote speakers, which will be in a form of a shared screen. Again, we thank you, our keynote speakers, for delivering their presentations. The PDF file of the certificate will be sent to your email addresses after this event.
Thank you, Professor Moha.
Only Professor Moha? All right. Before we end this opening event, let us all take a picture together. And to all participants, please turn on your videos so we can take your photos. One of our officials will screenshot the screen.
Could you make like a counting?
Mas Cahyo? Okay. Everyone, get ready. Pose. Give your best pose possible. Okay. Yeah, is it done, Mas Cahyo? Okay. One more time. Keep smiling. Keep faking your smile. Yeah. Okay. This marks the end of our opening event. We will now have a break until about 12:30. For all participants, presenters, yeah, for all presenters, please rejoin this meeting for the panel session registration by then, and please join your corresponding breakout rooms. We will not have any opening ceremony in the main Zoom room, yeah, so we'll not have any ceremony in this Zoom room, and you will go straight to your designated breakout room. So thank you everyone for your attention and participation throughout this event, and we apologize if there were unwanted circumstances throughout the opening session. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Waalaikumsalam.